Selling fireworks. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Sounds kind of dangerous. Sounds like an experience. Well, it was at least one of those things. So selling fireworks at a temporary shop has been my summer job for the past 2 years now, and let me go ahead and tell you, if you're looking for a good way to fill up your funny stories arsenal, look no further, this is the perfect job for you. As long as you're also okay with having no personal life for a solid month.
Now, I didn't go looking for this job.
We found out about it because my mom and my boss share a mutual friend, and, well, I couldn't find anything else that fit with my summer's traveling schedule. So that's how I got recruited into the fireworks business. Hooray! So after a couple of phone conversations with my boss, Mrs. Mrs., I went in for the interview. If you could even call it that. Literally, it was probably the easiest interview ever. We just met outside of the mutual friend's house, and then we talked about the job for a half hour.
I don't recall them asking me a single question about myself. We really did just talk about the job for a half hour. The only problem with that was that some of the information that they told me about the job turned out to be a bit misleading.
Yeah, you'll have to work some pretty long hours, and it'll vary from day to day, but you shouldn't have to work more than from 10 to 10. 2 weeks later, I get this text.
Store hours for the next 3 days, 9 to 11.
What? Seriously? She's making me work 14-hour days? See, when you run a temporary fireworks store, you've got to be there all day, every day, no breaks, no exceptions for an entire stinking month. Just to make sure you grasp the depth of what I'm trying to say here, I've included a shortened list of all the things you won't have time to do for the month of your life you've dedicated to selling somebody else's stuff. Oh, you won't have time to do anything at all. Anything at all. Just look at the list. Look at the list. Oh! But even though the job devours time at home with family and friends, it does puke up plenty of time for you to try to find ways to entertain yourself while longingly waiting for the ability to go home and sleep.
In all honesty, though, sometimes it was pretty sweet to get paid to just sit there and wait for customers to come in. I mostly just did a lot of reading. Well, anyways, this is how it works.
The shop is open for an entire month, but the only days that are actually busy are July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So once you spend about 5 full days setting up the shop, you have around 2 weeks to kill before the busy season sets in. And the point of those weeks is just to get people used to seeing the shop there so that they'll be more likely to actually come in once the 4th rolls around. But the closer that it got to the 4th, the busier the shop became until I was no longer able to keep up with the crowds by myself. That's when my boss decided that it would be a great idea to hire 2 pesky little employees who knew even less about fireworks than I did. Just kidding, they were actually my younger sisters and they were so much fun to work with. But if you thought that my interview was strange, they didn't even meet the boss until several days after they started working. And even then, they were never officially introduced. In reality, I guess my experience of selling fireworks could be described as the equivalent of my boss dumping me in a building full of explosives with a faulty register and very little knowledge about the actual product that I'm selling. But you know, at least my shop had a bathroom with running water, which is more than I can say for some of the unfortunate souls shackled to a month of selling fireworks. Once my boss's son, who also runs a temporary shop, came by my store, and while we were talking, he made this remark about how nice it was that I actually had a bathroom in my store. Hold on, your store doesn't have a bathroom?
No, it doesn't.
Where?
Oh, there's some woods out back.
Ugh, boys! Also, even though my shop did have air conditioning, I mean, it might as well not have, because in fireworks business, you gotta keep the door propped open all day, or else people will think that you're closed, for some stupid reason. So what that meant was that as soon as I opened the shop each morning, whew, and once that cold air is gone, you know it's never coming back. At the beginning of my second summer working this job, Mrs. Mrs. told me to meet her at the shop at noon for my first day of work so she could give me the key and help set up. And like the responsible employee that I am, I showed up at 11:50. And then instantly regretted it because I remembered that Mrs. Mrs. is always at least 15 minutes late. So after about 30 minutes of waiting in the hot sun, I texted Mrs. Mrs. to make sure she hadn't forgotten about me. And this is what she replied with. Bing! Seriously? So after waiting for 30 minutes, I texted her again. Bing! Hey, this is Serena. I'm waiting here at the shop. Are you almost here?
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were waiting on me. I guess I thought you were already inside cleaning or something. Well, it's gonna be a couple of hours before I can make it over there, so you might as well just go home. And when I get there in a couple of hours, I guess you can come back to the shop. Or if you don't make it back to the shop before I leave, I'll just hide the key for you somewhere.
At this point, I'd been waiting an hour and 15 minutes in the hot sun, so you can only imagine what my response was. Alright, sounds good. Beep. Ha! He's kidding himself if he thinks I'm coming back today. One time when there was a line of people all the way to the back of the store waiting to be checked out, I was going so fast I was ringing people up without even looking at them. And then as this one customer was leaving the shop with his purchase, I instinctively started calling after him the standard farewell greeting. Have a good day, guys! But halfway through, I happened to glance up and I realized that there was only one person leaving the store. I had to make a split-second decision, and I ended up saying, have a good day, guy. Oh yes, I totally nailed that one.
I guess in the end, I'd have to say that even though the job was a lot at times, it was also a great experience and I really did enjoy working there. I have a lot of great memories from that job. To have the entire shop to myself, it was really nice. All that time to myself to think and reflect and draw. Actually, it was while I was working fireworks that I actually decided to create this YouTube channel in the first place, so I guess it's quite appropriate that this be my first video. So here we are, finally got the first one out. I can't believe it. I'm so excited to see where this channel goes. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. It really means a lot. And also hit the notifications to make sure that you know when my next video is coming out, because I have a lot more videos coming and I'm super excited about this next one. Trust me, you are not going to want to miss it. So make sure that you are subscribed and I will see you next time.